guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for choosing me today. If it is your first time here, my name is Zizile Mdakane. Welcome king, welcome queen, and if you are a returning subscriber, a returning viewer, whatever it is that you would like to identify yourself as, if you've been a regular on this channel, thank you so much for watching, and you know what time it is. Do the right thing and subscribe. Now guys, as you've obviously seen in the title of this video, we are doing a story time, and of course, as you know, if you've watched any of my story times, you know that this is one of the features on my YouTube channel that is rather uncomfortable, but I figured, you know, sometimes you gotta let people in a little something, let them know a little something about you, and you know, just share your experiences. You never know who might be going through the same thing. You never know who might actually, you know, learn something at the end of the story. So apart from entertainment purposes, I do hope that you find something worth taking in. So as per norm, before I do a story time, before I get into a skata, Sindava, grab yourself a drink. I am sipping on my tropical juice in a champagne glass, darling. Aesthetics. But anyway, let's go into today's story time. We broke up, and this is what he did, right? And I'm sure you're probably thinking, hey, what happened? Why? How? So me and Mr. what do we call him, guys? Mr. X. Call him Mr. X, right? The only guy who probably can call himself an X, because every other X does not exist. I'm just saying, whether they claim, I don't know them. I don't. But anyway, let's continue. Alright, so Scarter City. Okay, so we were obviously in a very long-term relationship. We had the best kind of relationship. We were friends and also lovers. Best friends, actually. Our relationship was kind of sort of weird because it had a lot of dynamics. Like at some point we were that close in that sense that he was a friend, he was a brother, you know. Jay, it was an all-in-one kind of relationship, you know, to a point where sometimes I feel like maybe we never really got to grasp or experience the relationship from a love point of view, you know, from a love point of view, if I can put it that way. Yes. So me and Mr. X, Rajola, Humonati, everything is going fine, darling. I'm happy. I love him. I'm like, we gonna get married. Wrong hand. We gonna get married. Oh my lord, God, okay. Okay, uzowenza ama other. Guy is gonna show me kung fu. He's going to confolculate my life. You know, he's going to drive me. You know how you find someone and you love them as much as, like, they make you, as much as they make you happy, they make you as mad. And so you will love them so much. And also when you're angry, like you angry, you know, it's like Jay, yeah, well. So it was that kind of situation for me. I loved him, but he also made me angry, right? So we had a lot of challenges in our relationship, and obviously because I do respect him, there are some things that I will not mention for the sake of his reputation, and yeah, basically. So fine, Mogai and I, we went through a lot of challenges together. As much as it was good, it was not you know, that bad. So obviously we go through a rough patch, and in this rough patch, you know, it just so happened that a third party came into the the relationship. Now, when you are that young, I think I started dating him around 21, in my early 20s, roughly, right? Now, when you're that young, it's one of those things whereby like heartbreak feels like that's it. It feels like a death sentence. It's like, how do I breathe? How do I live? How do I live without you? Type of thing. Oh, Celine Dion, bless her soul, bless her soul. It's funny how we sing R&B songs when we're young, but we'll never know that literally that girl was on something. That girl, that girl was on something, right? She was on the money. She knew how relationships actually bring you to that point where you're like, when everybody's in your life, and you've centered everything around them, and then boom, you're like, how do I live without you? But so anyway, guys, I'm trying to be serious about this, but it is a story time. It's one of the features where I can really be my crazy self, okay? So fine, we continue, okay, sharp. You're devastated. I was heartbroken. How do you do this to me in such a time in our lives? How do you do this, And I think Nai, he was also in the process of finding himself. I think sometimes some things are never intentional. I'm not excusing the behavior, but some things are really, when you sit back and you look, you're like, you know what, Umuntu was still had the right to make those kind of mistakes because they're still developing, man. They were still growing. But there's never ever an excuse to cheat on someone. There's never an excuse to play with someone's hearts. I just feel like those kind of things should really be taken serious because the karma that comes with that child, king, y'all better watch yourselves. Don't play with people's hearts like that. Anyway, fast forward, right? So for the duration of the relationship, it was hard recovering from that because obviously now self-esteem issues started coming, into play. And we are as le side chick or whatever you want to call it. Or actually, I feel like I moved, right? I feel like I moved from being the main chick to the side chick because that girl was just not going nowhere, guys. She was just not going nowhere. And obviously we hardly saw each other. So like now when you now start weighing, you have been demoted. You have been demoted. But it's we all go through it. We all go through it. If you are a queen and you're watching this and you've never found yourself in a situation where demotion more, I don't know if that's the correct suit, but child, it fits. Okay, it was working in that sentence. So that's what happened. This girl was just not going nowhere. This girl was just going nowhere. And it frustrated the living daylights out of me. Like it really, really frustrates the living daylights out of me. Like at some point, even the rainbow didn't make sense. Like you cry on a cold, rainy day, and it's like, and then all of a sudden there's a rainbow. As even the rainbows didn't signify hope. You understand? Me, I was the people that were during Noah's times when God flooded the earth and it was like it's over. That was me. Those people, they were me. I was those people. Right? Going forward. Guys, that thing took a huge part of me. It broke me. It broke me. It really, 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 really broke me. Devastated me. Shattered my world to a point where it shattered my dreams. I was so young. And love was everything for me. I grew up in a home where I had separate parents. I had parents living separately, right? And having a happy family, being in a happy marriage or wanting to have a good relationship was everything for me because I felt it was something that I felt like I could fight for, that I wanted to have in my life because I never really got to see my parents happily in love. I think to date, I only literally have one memory of my parents. And Nakon, I was maybe too young to remember all the other memories if they were any. Okay, so that's what that relationship symbolized for me. It symbolized hope. It symbolized happiness. It symbolized, a happy home, a happy family. I loved that man to my core. And I think as a Christian girl growing up, that's the first mistake that you make. We tend to take people and we give them our hearts when we haven't even found ourselves, number one. And we haven't even found ourselves in God, right? Because once a man starts taking that much of you, starts like like Jay, owning that much of you, or being your center of everything, and starts taking God's position in your life, excuse me, whereas God is supposed to be the center of everything, that relationship or that decision, the end, the consequence of that decision is doom. You can never find happiness outside of God. You can never find a happy, fruitful relationship outside of God. And I needed to understand that God needed to be jealous about me, and just let me go through what I needed to do so that I could learn that lesson, that don't ever have another God before me. And I don't think we look at it that way as Christian women or women of faith or whatever. I don't think we look at it that way, that when you start praising your partner that much, when you start centering everything around your partner that much, that person has now become an idol. You understand? That person has really become istithixo in Zulu, right? Because that's not what God said. God said in his 10 commandments that thou shalt have no other God. Do not make yourselves images, etc., etc., etc. How much more when this person is now physical? Every day this person is now taking your prayer times in the morning, because the first thing you're thinking about is him, or her. During the day, everything about you is just this person, right? So that was the biggest mistake that I made initially, and I think if I'm going to look at it from a different perspective now that I'm older, we broke up. It was bad, because every time we broke up, we'd always get back together. Break up, get back together. Break up. It was just an ongoing cycle. And when I say that when we broke up, this is what he did. The breakup, the hurt that I had in my heart, and that was in me, that I was carrying, was so deep and so dangerous, to a point where it changed me. It changed me to be a woman who wanted nothing more than to prove herself to every other man that was there, to everybody else that knew me with this person, or thought of me in a certain way. It made me become a woman who believed she was better, but was actually better to a certain degree. This is why I am not for feminism. You know what I mean? There's femininity and there's feminism. We'll discuss it another day. But this is why I am, because sometimes when you look at the core of feminism, or the core of a woman behaving in that manner, it's deeply rooted hurt that is not healed, or that is not released. Understand? And I became that woman. I became a woman who was just angry. I just became a woman who was dominant. I needed a man who knew exactly what he was bringing to the table, because I knew what I was bringing to the table. You were not going to tell me anything, and generally I was like that. I think I mentioned this in my previous clip as well. Generally, I was that kind of person, and you are not happy when you're that kind of person, because everything is, you're constantly working for your next high, in the sense of happiness. You are in this illusion of being peace and being happy. Gandhi, you are internally fighting things that really should be forgiven and should have been let go of. So fast forward, he comes back to my life with a direct a plan. He knows what he wants. He understands and everything. You know, Jay guy was on the money. Guy was on the money. But the version of me that he found, honey, that's not the girl you marry. That's not. I was not the girl to marry at the time, because I was not having it. I was not hearing it. I was very entitled. I was just, no, you're not gonna do that to me. This is not how you're gonna, everything about him and everything he said triggered me. And that's when I realized that I was not healed. I had not forgiven. So as much as you think you had forgiven, but I think after a breakup, we confuse forgiving a person and healing with actually just moving on and covering up things and just you NJ. That's what we're actually doing. Kanti, when you're forgiving a person, you are identifying every single thing that he did, and even when situations present themselves that way, you do not react because they are not triggering you to be in a certain, to act in a certain way. So we got back together and I was highly triggered. The second time around we got back together, the relationship was not healthy. It was toxic. I was a monster. I don't want to lie to you. I was a monster. I was not a good person to him. I didn't care a damn. It was all about me, for me, about me. Okay, honey? And that was it. But what he did for me when we broke up, now this is what I'm going to close off with. When we broke up and he let me go. He literally let me go. Remember I said in the beginning, the cycle was always we break up, we get back together, we break up, I'm an LB. This time the guy let me go. The guy let me go. And funny enough, I was giving him at least a time frame of 2 weeks. He's going to come back. I mean, come on, man. Like, we always go through this. And first in our corner, when I was expecting him to come back, I was expecting him to come back on my terms. Okay, I wanted him to come back on my terms. I wanted him to do exactly the things that he should do. He found a version that obviously he created, but I take full responsibility for. When I say he created, his actions created that monster. And I think this is where we miss it sometimes when we're trying to heal and fix relationships. We don't see the damage that we are doing to other people. We don't see what we are changing them to become. We don't see what we are pushing them to be. You understand? All we're seeing is, hi, we are better. You're full of nonsense, this, that. This person just doesn't want to listen. She's just like that. She's just like this, but we never really take responsibility. So as much as his actions pushed me or led me to that, I take full responsibility, because I could have chosen to heal properly. I could have chosen to invest in myself in a healthy way. I could have, there were so many could haves that I could have done a whole lot better. But he let me go, and he actually gave me freedom to heal properly, because he came back into my life a different and better version of himself. But obviously also when that happens, you're telling a whole lot of people, oh no, he's back in my life, he's this, he's that. Everybody has a lot to say, and it clouds your judgment. Understand? But when a person now, this is when I saw that he was a different version of himself. He was a different version of himself in the sense that even when we broke up, he didn't fight. The version of him before was, you're not gonna leave me. No, we're not ending. This time he let me go. And it activated my healing for me. It brought me to a deeper level of introspecting. And there's so many breakups that end up the wrong way, and we hate people, and we never really take time to really go deep within ourselves and forgive from a genuine, healthy point of forgiving. And I don't wanna lie, ever since then, I've been so much better. I've had a much more better attitude towards relationships, and I believe in communicating and allowing people to be who they are now, because he did that for me. He let me be the woman that I was, and it was up to me to decide if I want to change or not. And obviously, still being the woman who believes in a healthy family, healthy relationship, and believing in obtaining everything else that I want, I realized that that kind of woman cannot have the kind of home, or cannot have the kind of happiness that I want to have in my life. Skata. And I just wanted to say, Uti, you know, if there's anything that you can take the part of what you did in the relationship, how you contributed to how things ended. Take the part in actively healing deeply. Take the part of forgiving genuinely. You know, take the part of apologizing. You know, take the part of let me also mention this. I needed to go back to him and apologize for being the kind of person that I was, because he opened up and explained and expressed also how I treated him, what I was. And remember, he came back thinking I was that version who was loving, sweet, only to find a beast. And you never know. Maybe you and your could have been, should have been can actually have another shot if you just really deeply introspect. Now the $1 million question is, are we still together? Are we going to have another chance? Hey, only God knows. Thank you for watching, my loves. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from it. Tell me if you would like more story times by liking the video, and I'll see you next time. Mwah!